Hello there and welcome. I'm Bob Proctor, and I'm really glad you're here. And I think before this is over, you're going to be glad you're here. I want to talk to you about a big idea. I want to talk to you about your big idea. Now, you may have one, and if you haven't, I'm going to show you how to get one, because ideas change our life. Everything you see in the world around you is nothing but the manifestation of an idea. And the ideas enter our mind. You know, what is your big idea? How many of them have you had that you just let go, that you never acted on? Are you acting on the one that you've got right now? Or do you have one right now? Maybe you don't. See, the truth is that most people never act on the big ideas. And yet the success stories that you hear of people all over the world, all it is people acting on ideas. Why is it that most people feel stuck? They got an idea, but they just don't make it happen. Now ask yourself this question. How would your life change if you took one big idea and you stepped out and acted on it? Do you know, I did that a long time ago. It not only changed my life, it changed my life so dramatically that I was inspired to come into the business I'm in 40-some years ago, and I've helped millions of people alter the course of their life. I want to help you. In fact, that's my purpose in life, is just to wake people up and get them to understand the potential that they've got and what they're really capable of doing. Do you know, most of us struggle. Buckminster Fuller said, you don't change things by fighting existing reality. He said, to change anything, you build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Now think of this for a moment. There's only two things you need to know if you want to create great wealth. One of them, you have to know where you are, and two is you have to know where you're going. Now people say, well, there's got to be a lot more to it than that. No, there's not. Now, if that's so easy and so simple, why are so many people stuck? Well, generally it's because they know where they're going. That's the end they'd like to reach. But they're not quite sure of where they are, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get there. The Wright brothers did not know how they were going to get the plane off the ground. They only knew they were going to get the plane off the ground. Hillary did not know how he was going to stand on the top of Mount Everest. He just knew he would. The fact that no one had ever done it in the history of the world really didn't make any difference to Sir Edmund Hillary. I had the good fortune of working with him 2 or 3 occasions, and the only thing I could see different in him than anybody else was his size. He was a big man. I remember when he'd shake hands with me, he'd wrap his hand right around mine. I mean, I felt like a midget beside him sometimes. Well, most people say, well, they're stuck because they don't have a goal. And that could be true, but I don't think that's really true, because I think ideas do come into our mind. We may not articulate them in writing and everything, detailed as a goal. I think the problem lies right here. It lies where we are, our paradigm. See, a paradigm is a mental program in our subconscious mind that literally controls almost all of our behavior patterns. And it's our behavior that produces a result. So you see, there's a program in there that keeps getting the same results over and over and over again. And that's what people do. They just keep doing that. Now, a great question is, can I change my paradigm? See, I remember when I sat down with Ray Stanford, my goodness, it was back in 1961. And he said, you know, Bob, one of your problems is that you're stuck. You're just not changing anything in your life. He said, you keep getting the same results year after year after year. And he said, you don't change them because you're controlled by the subconscious conditioning. And I asked, can I change it? And I remember his answer was an emphatic, yes, you can. And you know, when he said that, he had so much power in his suggestion that just his answer changed my life. He gave me hope. Now, looking back, I realized I had no hope prior to this. I really didn't, because I just couldn't see how anything would change. When you have hope, you've got something very strong going for you. That's right, you have options. See, I didn't think I had any options. I thought, this is where I'm stuck. I'm going to have to make it here for the rest of my life. Well, you got to shake things up a little bit, because you can change things, and you can change them dramatically, and you can get into what we call the big money. That's right. Anybody can. Napoleon Hill talked about it, and he said, when you change your paradigm, you become connected totally connected to an entirely different world, and you're going to love it like that little fish. You're going to have more room to move around. That's right, some freedom. That's it. See, Napoleon Hill said when the riches begin to come, they're going to come so fast and so furious, you're going to wonder where they were hiding through all those lean years. I remember when that happened to me. You see, it happened a long time ago. Ray Stanford, who I just mentioned, wrote an R on a sheet of paper, and then he put 2 H's and a W down beside it. Now he said, Bob, let the R represent your results. I want you to do that. I want you to just think of your results right now. In any area of your life. I was looking at happiness, health, and wealth. And he asked me, he said, you think I'm a happy guy? And I said, yeah, he seemed pretty happy to me, and he did. He said, have you ever seen me sick? And I had to admit I hadn't. He said, have you ever seen me when I was broke? I had to admit I hadn't. Remember, he always had a roll of money in his pocket, and he said, this stuff can't talk, but it can hear. And if you call it, it'll come. It's just the way it works. Well, then he proceeded to tell me he thought I was one of the most miserable people he'd ever met. He said, you're always sick and you're always broke. Now, he was actually being kind. I was earning $4,000 a year at the time, but I owed $6,000. And then he introduced me to this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. My whole world began to change. 1 year later, I was earning $175,000 a year. And then I took it over $1 million. I mean, this was so far beyond my wildest dreams. You may think that could never happen to me. I could guarantee you it could happen to you if you will do exactly what I suggest, because I've seen it happen to a lot of people. Matrixx is a program. It's 6 days. I'm going to ask you, how would you like to spend 6 days with me? I'd be working with you on your mind. But it's not just with me. It's a team of people. Our whole team. I've got a phenomenal team. We have one woman, Gina, Hayden has been working with me for 27 years. We've got some phenomenal suppliers that we work with. We bring them all in. We bring people in that help us build our company, and you can help them start your company, build your company, take your ideas and make them happen. See, this is 6 solid days, all day long for 6 days. We're working on your idea. I'm going to show you how to tap into your potential. My entire team will be there. We'll all be there for the 6 days. It's an exciting time. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't have a big idea, within hours of coming to Matrixx, you'll have a big idea. Matrixx itself is a word that means birthplace. It's where we give birth to ideas. I was sitting on a plane one day when this idea came to me. I thought, you know, I watch people change before my eyes in a seminar, and I thought, what if I had an entire week with someone? And I thought, a small group. So we work with a small group of people. I only do this once or twice a year. But I'm going to tell you, it's powerful. It is really powerful. Let me show you something that I found in this book. He's talking about specialized knowledge. And he said, you know, before you can turn your ability or transmute your desire into its monetary equivalent, you need something. You require specialized knowledge. And when I read that, I thought, I'm in the soup, and I just don't have any specialized knowledge. But then he had another paragraph down a little further on the page, and he said, the accumulation of great wealth calls for power. And power is acquired through highly organized and intelligently directed specialized knowledge. But, and this is the key, the person who accumulates the money doesn't have to have the knowledge. See, you don't have to know everything we know. You can use what we have learned over the past 50 years, and you can utilize it to get your idea into the air. We have some people that earn millions of dollars after coming to Matrixx, literally millions. See, I think everybody's a millionaire in embryo. You're just waiting for it all to happen. It's so simple. You can obtain this syndicated, this specialized knowledge that you require in the Matrixx program from our Matrixx experts. We literally bring them in. People that we have worked with for a long time, that supply our company, that helped our company to grow into the giant that it is today. We're all over the world today. They'll put on maybe a 4 or 5 minute presentation of what they do for us. And then if you want to make an appointment and sit down with them, and they could explain how they could help you. And we've got some real phenomenal people that work with us. Well, you could have. You could see the matrix as your starting point. This could be the starting point, and everything could expand from there, and it just keeps getting bigger and keeps getting better. You know, a man named Troward, way back around the turn of the century, talked about the starting point. Starting point's an interesting concept. Some people think they only have one. That's when they were born. That's not true. You can turn every minute into a starting point if that's what you want, because every minute does turn into a starting point. It's the start of something bigger and something better, and your world will just expand. It's so beautiful and yet so misunderstood. You see, out of the secret came the answer. Do you know that your spiritual DNA is perfect? It's perfect. It requires no modification. It requires no improvement. Absolutely none. It's all-knowing. It's all-powerful. And it's ever-present. Now think about that. Every religion and all of science are clearly locked in and in agreement on one idea. All the knowledge there ever was or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. All the power there ever was or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. You know what that means? It means it's within you. It's within me. It's in our marvelous mind. Everything we'll ever want is already here. The smartphones, the communications that I'm doing right now, the computers, the airplanes, the jets. I mean, it was always here. What we had to do was develop the awareness. That's the real you. Are you what you pretend to be? Do you think you're truly what you pretend to be? I don't think so. You see? What does your mind look like? That's a great question. It's a great question. And you see, there was a gentleman back in 1934. He was a doctor, Dr. Truman Fleet. And he said, you know, he was very involved in the healing arts and holistic health. And he said, we're treating symptoms. We're treating the cause, not the cause of it, the symptoms of the problem. Because you got to get to the cause, you got to get into the mind. And he drew this picture. Without question, this is the most valuable idea I've ever learned. There's your conscious mind, your subconscious, and your body. Now, the conscious mind is the part of you that thinks. That's your thinking mind. This is where our educated mind is resident. This is where our intellect is resident. That's right. See, we have the ability to choose. We can choose to do anything we want. Now, we can choose to stay where we are for the rest of our life and think, you know, I can't go any further. Or we can choose to follow the advice of someone who has demonstrated by results. They know what they're talking about, and I'm going to follow the new plan. You see? You can accept or reject any information. You can reject what I'm telling you right now, or you can accept it. See, if you accept what I'm telling you, you're going to reject most of what the news broadcasters are telling you. Because although it's true for a lot of people, it doesn't have to be true for you. You and I have the ability to choose. We have these sensory factors that picks up information from outside, and we can reject everything that comes. Most people live through those sensory factors. Let's turn those off for a while, and let's start to originate some big ideas and really make things happen. Now, you know, we have all these higher faculties because the conscious mind's our intellectual mind. We have perception, the will, imagination, memory, intuition, and reason. These are higher faculties. We'll get in and we'll talk about these in the matrix. We'll talk about how they work and how you can work with them. Most people know very little about all those faculties. Now, the subconscious is the emotional mind. And this part of you has absolutely no ability to reject. It cannot reject, and furthermore, it must accept whatever is turned over to it. It cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. That little model you're going to become very familiar with, as familiar with it as I am. And I'll tell you something else. You come up to me in the matrix and ask me, what am I like? I'll look at you and I'll tell you exactly what you're like. Do you know why? Everything on the inside shows on the outside, and I'll show you how to do it. Now look at this for a moment. If you just take what I've explained to you and think of all the nonsense that's flowing at our conscious mind, and we have a reasoning factor that gives us the ability to think. And we could just say, I'm not going to listen to any of that. And we could just tell it to go and leave town. But we don't do that. Why don't we do that? Because we don't think. We leave our subconscious mind wide open. Remember, we said it has no ability to reject. And that's because that's where the paradigm is resident. See, that's a program in our subconscious mind that lets the outside world control us. We don't have to live that way. Why do we live that way? Well, let's go back and look at it when we were infants. This is how we arrived on the scene. We didn't have a language. We didn't like any kinds of food. All that was programmed into our mind. It was programmed into our mind by the people that we're surrounded by. The language we learn, the kind of food we eat, all our prejudices, they're all programmed into our subconscious mind. The image that you hold of you that's dictating how much money you earn, how happy you are, how productive you are, you didn't form that image. Our self-image, it was planted in our mind in our little life. And the self-image is only one idea. The paradigm is a multitude of ideas. And so here we are, we're literally programmed just to go by what we hear, see, smell, taste, touch. We've been trained to do that. And so here we are, years later, doing exactly the same thing. Why? Well, it's because we're programmed to do it. You see, your results are an expression of your level of awareness. Your awareness is blocked by layers of virus code. See, all this potential, all this power, this spiritual essence that we've got inside, it's all locked up, it's all blocked. Let's let this little dot represent your level of awareness. Now remember, your results are dictated by your level of awareness. Think of how your life would change if you just increased your awareness a little bit. You eliminate the darkness when you turn on the light. Now think, a person doesn't earn $100,000 a year because they want $100 a year. They earn $100,000 a year because they're not aware of how to earn $100,000 a month. Could they do that? Absolutely they could. Just raise this awareness, expand your awareness. Now the question is, how do I expand my level of awareness? Well, that's what Matrixx is designed to do. That's right. Matrixx is actually designed to do that. It's effective education combined with professional coaching over a reasonable period of time will alter anyone's level of awareness. You've got genius locked up within you, and all you have to do is bring it to the surface. You know, we say it's a sad thing when a child is afraid of the dark. I'll tell you something that's a lot sadder is when you see an adult that's afraid of the light. Some people, they just, no, I don't want to learn anything new. If you want to change your life, you've got to get into something new. See, everything you're seeking is seeking you. You're a spiritual being. Your spirit's always for expansion and fuller expression. Awareness. Think of that for a moment. Awareness will change everything for you. We build the smartphones because we become aware of how to do it. We fly through the air on planes and lay down in beds and watch movies and hot meals at 35,000 feet. You can stay up there for up to 20 hours. Why? Somebody became aware of how to do it. You see, you're a spiritual being. Do you know what that means? That means that there's a part of you that's evenly present in all places at the same time. Now, you live in a physical body, but you're not a physical being. You are not. You're a spiritual being living in a physical body. This is merely the instrument we're living in. Now, we've been gifted with an intellect, and this is what separates us from all the rest of the animal kingdom. Do you know, all the rest of the little creatures on the planet are completely at home in their environment. You and I are the only creature that's totally disoriented in our environment, and that is because we can create our own environment. And when you begin using your intellect effectively, you're going to change your emotional state, you'll change the vibrations you're in, and when you do that, your whole world changes. When you get to understand what you see here on the screen in front of you, your world will change like night and day. You see, you are a spiritual being, you have an intellect, and you live in a physical body. Now, what we want to do is activate that intellectual factors. We want to activate them. We want to tap into this power that's within us. And as we tap into it, we build thoughts in our mind. That's right. We build thoughts, and then we take the thoughts and we turn them into ideas. It's such a beautiful concept when you really grasp it, because thoughts are omnipresent. They're everywhere. You can think underwater. You can think in a plane. You can think walking down the street. See, thoughts are omnipresent. Thoughts are of a spiritual nature, and we build the idea, and the idea moves into form. Now, what you're looking at there is one of the laws of the universe, the perpetual transmutation of energy. Andrew Carnegie, who was the wealthiest man in the world back around 1900, he said that any idea that is held in the mind, any idea, and you see, I just showed you, you can create your own ideas. Any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Oh yeah, you can create ideas and you can execute them. All you have to do is make a decision. You're going to do it. Now, I know the information I've just shared with you is valuable. I know how valuable it is, too, because I know what it's done in my life and the lives of millions of other people that I've shared it with. You have to make a decision. Do you want to spend 6 days with us? Now, some people say, well, I don't know, that's a lot of money. You're going to spend the money anyway. Say 6 days, that's a lot of time. You're going to spend the time anyway. So you're going to spend the time and you're going to spend the money. When are you going to start spending the time and the money on the development of your own marvelous mind? Because that is going to dictate the results that you get. And that's what Matrixx is all about. Matrixx is a resourceful environment where people from all around the world collaborate. They mastermind and they explore opportunities while developing multiple sources of income. See, they develop financial independence. You will make connections with people from various parts of the world. They literally come from all over the world. You're going to make connections with people from Europe, from Asia, from Australia. You're going to get to know them. They're going to get to know you. You and I will get to know each other. We will develop a relationship. That's right. We'll be able to pick up the phone and phone each other at will. You know why? Because we're locked into the same information. We're operating on the same frequency. See, Matrixx is where you can actually turn your annual income into a monthly income. I want to suggest you fill out the information form on this page and let one of the people on my team get in touch with you and answer all the questions that you might have. Because I can guarantee you it'll change your life like night and day. This is Bob Proctor.